Most gardens don't fail because of bad soil or bad plants. They fail because of layout. Not in an obvious way. Everything looks fine at the start. Beds are neat, rows are straight, every plant has its own space. It looks organized and it feels productive. But a few weeks in, small inefficiencies start stacking. Some plants grow faster and begin shading others. Water pools in one area and drains too quickly in another. You harvest heavily for a short window and then suddenly things slow down. By mid to late season, parts of the garden are already empty, and you're left wondering why you're not getting as much out of it as you expected. What most people don't realize is that this isn't a planting problem, it's a production problem, because a garden designed for planting is focused on how things look at the beginning. A garden designed for producing is structured around what happens over time. It's layered, it's staggered, it uses time as a variable, not just space. I learned this the hard way. My first few seasons, my garden looked great in May. Clean, organized, full. But by August, large sections were empty, and total output was lower than it should have been. The year I redesigned everything around production instead of appearance was the year my harvest doubled. Without adding space, without buying anything new, just by changing how things were arranged. In this video, I'm going to show you the 5 layout changes that made that happen. These are structural shifts, and once you see them, you'll start noticing exactly where your current layout is leaving production on the table. The first layout change is vertical stacking in the back row. Most gardens operate in a single dimension, and everything spread across the ground like a flat grid. But above every bed is 6 to 8 feet of vertical space that's completely unused. That's where your first increase in yield comes from. Instead of planting everything at ground level, dedicate the back row of each bed to climbing crops. Pole beans, cucumbers, indeterminate tomatoes, peas, anything that can grow upward on a trellis. Place that trellis along the back edge so it doesn't block light from the rest of the bed. Now you're producing food from vertical space that used to be empty air, and the yield difference isn't small. A pole bean trellis can produce 6 to 12 pounds of beans from about 1 square foot of ground space. That's not theoretical, that's repeatable. But the real advantage shows up in how it changes the rest of the bed, because now the ground in front of that trellis is still available. You haven't sacrificed space, you've multiplied it. I remember the first season I added a trellis to every bed. At first it felt like I was just organizing things better. But by the end of the season, I realized each bed was producing noticeably more, even though I hadn't increased the footprint at all. And once the structure is there, it stays. Spring peas climb it, summer beans replace them, same space, different timing, continuous use. That's the first doubling mechanism, using space you already have but weren't using effectively. The second layout change is succession planting in the front row. This is where most gardens quietly lose half their potential. Everything gets planted at once in spring. The front row fills with lettuce, radishes, greens, fast crops that produce early, but once they finish, they're pulled out and nothing replaces them. That strip sits empty for the rest of the season, and it doesn't feel like a big loss because it's just one row. But over months, that empty space adds up to a huge amount of missed production. The fix is turning that front row into a rotation zone. Think of it as a space that never stops producing. Wave 1, early crops like lettuce, spinach, radishes. They grow quickly and are harvested early. Wave 2, the moment those crops finish, you replant immediately. No waiting. Bush beans, basil, or heat-tolerant greens go in the same day. Wave 3, when those finish later in the season, you repeat the process again with fall crops. Lettuce, spinach, arugula. 3 harvest cycles from the same strip of soil. And once you see it in action, it changes how you look at empty space, because empty space isn't neutral, it's lost time. I started keeping seeds for the next wave ready ahead of time, so the transition was instant. Pull one crop, plant the next, no gap. And that's what turns a static garden into a continuous one. The third layout change is companion integration, not separation. Most gardeners understand companion planting, but they apply it inefficiently. Herbs go in one bed, flowers in another, vegetables somewhere else. Everything is separated, but when they're separated, they're not doing anything for each other. The layout that doubles your harvest integrates companions directly into the growing space. Basil planted between tomatoes, about 8 to 10 inches from the stem. Dill or cilantro spaced between larger plants where there's just enough room. Marigolds tucked along edges. Sweet alyssum forming a low border. These aren't random placements. They're filling the gaps, the small pockets of space that would otherwise be bare soil. And that changes the entire system, because now every inch is producing something. At the same time, those plants attract beneficial insects, improve airflow, and reduce pest pressure, which means less time reacting, more time harvesting. It's a quiet shift, but it compounds. Less stress on plants means more consistent growth. More consistent growth means higher yield. That's the third doubling mechanism, turning unused gaps into productive space while stabilizing the system around it. The fourth layout change is soil replenishment between waves. This is the invisible piece that determines whether your system holds up or fades. Every crop pulls nutrients from the soil. Spring crops feed from it, then summer crops. Then fall crops try to grow in soil that's already been used for months. Without replenishment, each wave gets weaker. You start strong, and then things slowly decline. I saw this clearly when I first started succession planting. My spring crops looked great. My summer crops were good. But my fall crops were noticeably smaller and slower. Same layout, same spacing, same care, but different results. The difference was the soil. The fix is simple. Between each wave, add a thin layer of compost, about ½ inch, directly on top. Don't dig it in, just spread it and plant into it. And that small refresh replaces what was used and keeps the system balanced. It takes a few minutes, but it keeps production consistent across the entire season. Without it, the system weakens. With it, every wave performs like the first. The fifth layout change is perimeter defense. This is the one almost nobody does, but it has one of the biggest impacts. Most gardens have no defined boundary. Crops run right up to the edge, and everything outside the garden, weeds, pests, unmanaged growth, has direct access. That's where pressure enters. The layout that doubles your harvest creates a buffer. On the outer edge, plant a ring of nasturtiums spaced about 6 to 8 inches apart. These act as a trap crop, drawing pests away from your vegetables. Just inside that, add a strip of insect-friendly plants, sweet alyssum, yarrow, dill. These attract beneficial insects that naturally control pests. This layer doesn't produce food directly, but it protects everything inside it. And that protection matters, because most gardens don't lose yield from lack of growth. They lose it from damage, stress, and inconsistency. This reduces those losses, and that's the fifth doubling mechanism, not growing more but losing less. And when you combine all five, vertical stacking, succession planting, companion integration, soil replenishment, and perimeter defense, the entire system shifts. Your garden stops producing in bursts and starts producing continuously. Space is used more efficiently, time is used more efficiently, losses are reduced, output increases, not because you're doing more work, but because everything is working together. And that's the difference between a garden that looks productive and one that actually is. If you want to see this layout applied step by step in a single raised bed, watch the 4x8 layout video next. It uses all 5 of these changes in one compact design,